Today's episode is for you if you are struggling with mean thoughts. You know the thoughts, the ones that say you can't do something, you shouldn't do something, you're not good enough, that you don't look good in something, the thoughts that pick apart every bit of your being and keep you in a space of fear. This episode is especially for you if you are ready to start to let some of that fear go. This is Inspired Wellness with Jessica, a safe space for women impacted by their emotions to unlock hope and discover ways to elevate emotional wellness holistically for long-term health and well-being. I am your host, Jessica, advanced EFT practitioner, holistic counselor, meditation therapist, and advanced life coach. Join me for real, raw conversations to educate and inspire you to take control of your emotional well-being. I am so grateful you are here with me. Let's dive straight in. I want to ask you a question. Do you feel like your thoughts are inescapable? See, the negative thoughts tend to hit harder than the positive ones. I don't know why. The thoughts that spark emotion are the ones that we give our attention to. And I think it's so easy to become stuck in a place of, I don't want this, that place of having that thought that is about something that you don't want to think about, that thought about something that makes you feel uncomfortable. So we focus on that, and that then causes emotion for us. And then once we have that emotion, we really have put this power behind those thoughts. We believe them. We keep them replaying. Okay. So we even feel like there is truth to the thoughts. It is really easy to get caught up in the thoughts that are causing these negative emotions and to believe them to be true. Now, these thoughts are going to sound different for everybody, depending on the stories that you've been telling yourself your whole life, depending on the things that other people have said to you and the things that you have experienced. But they might sound something like, I'm not good enough, or I'm not pretty enough, or I'm not smart enough, or I'm not insert you're enough. They are the I can'ts. They are the what ifs. The what if you fail? Well, that wouldn't feel very nice. Oh, yeah, that wouldn't feel very nice. Okay, well, I better not do it, just in case. These are the what ifs. Okay. And these thoughts, I'm going to offer you a reframe now. These thoughts, what if they are trying to keep you safe? What if that inner mean girl, in some warped way, is actually it's coming from a space of fear, not just trying to bring you down, not just trying to keep you stuck. Although keeping you stuck means you stay comfortable, which means you stay safe. So what if we look at these thoughts and we say, okay, thank you for trying to keep me safe. Because these inner mean girl thoughts are completely fueled by your stories, by your past experiences, by your past events, by your internal dialogue, and also by your outside influences and your external dialogue. Okay, what have you taken on from other people? Okay, let's say, for example, you're 7 years old and you are learning to play the recorder. And you're at home and you're practicing and you've got your Mary Had a Little Lamb down pat, sort of. and mum's in the next room and she's trying to do some work, or she's got a bit of a headache. It's been a big day. And she says, stop that awful noise. Now you were there feeling super proud of yourself. You nailed Mary Had a Little Lamb with a couple of really high squeaky pitched. I've got the sound of a recorder in my head. Don't know why I use this example. But you nailed it. You nailed Mary Had a Little Lamb, right? So you're proud of yourself and you're thinking, I can do this. I can learn this instrument. But then mum has said, stop that awful noise. Stop that noise. And suddenly you have this story that you then maybe cling on to, that you can't learn how to play an instrument. You're not good enough to play an instrument. Mum doesn't want you to play an instrument. Maybe mum doesn't love you enough because you didn't play the instrument well enough for her to call it a song rather than a noise. Insert your story. Insert the meaning that you have taken from that short experience where mum had a headache, or she was working, or on a phone call. I don't know. We don't know what it was. Insert your meaning. So now, down the track, you have this urge inside you. You're like, I really want to start a business where I am teaching people how to play the recorder. Let's just say that is your passion. That is your dream. But you have this story. You've had this dream for 15 years. But you have this story that continues to play in your head that says, you're not good at the recorder. You just make noise. You will never be good enough to play the recorder. Who are you to go and teach somebody when you couldn't even nail Mary Had a Little Lamb? I know this example's a bit ridiculous, but you get the point, right? You see what I'm saying? So these thoughts that maybe have even told you you couldn't play another instrument, or that maybe have taught you that learning something is actually unsafe, or that maybe have taught you, that something that you really, really enjoy, it's not safe to express the joy. You don't know what kind of meaning has been put on that situation. So now though, in the here and now, you have all of these thoughts and these stories and these fears. Because stress and these stories, these are all fear-based. And you have all of these things that are replaying in your head that are stopping you from doing what you want to do. Stopping you from doing the things that you feel pulled to do inside your gut, inside your body, that you just, you just really want to be teaching kids how to play Mary Had a Little Lamb on the recorder. And if you actually do love the recorder, I'm not poking fun, I'm just using this as an example. And I remember back to when I was a child and I was trying to learn the recorder. And yes, the sound is kind of piercing my ears as I do think about getting it wrong. No, my mum never said stop that noise, although I'm sure she was thinking it. But can you see though how that one small outside influence has then turned into this internal dialogue that may have even turned into physical sensations in your body? Because these thoughts and the things that stress us, it all starts in our mind, or our worries, it all starts in our mind, and then it moves into our body. And we feel that through the anxiety, through the fear, through the discomfort, the heart racing, the shortness of breath, the sweatiness when we think about even just saying to somebody that we want to open a business teaching someone how to play the recorder. That feeling in your stomach that just feels like it's not safe to do this. These mean thoughts and these stories and this dialogue that you keep telling yourself is serving a purpose. And that purpose isn't to bring you down. That purpose isn't to sabotage yourself. That purpose is to keep you safe. To keep you safe because in that moment when mum had said, stop making that noise, you had associated a meaning of rejection or, not being good enough or anything, whatever the meaning you have associated that to. So now we tell ourselves these stories so that we don't have to feel not good enough anymore. But then the problem with those stories continually playing over and over and over in your mind is that they are sparking these emotions that are negative for you, which ultimately keeps you in a space of stress and keeps you in a space of fear and keeps you believing these stories over and over again. Because when we have emotion, and I've said this so many times, when we have emotion behind our words, behind our thoughts, behind our internal dialogue, then we believe it. Because that emotion is evidence to your brain that it is not a liar, that it is, telling the truth, that story is truth and it must be true because look at the emotion that she is putting behind this. So as you start to explore your stories, your inner mean girl, the chatter in your head, the things that say, you can't wear those shorts because your legs, da 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 da. You can't go to the gym because you're not this. You can't start a business because you failed at this. What if it all goes wrong and I, present to this group of people and it all goes wrong and everybody laughs at me and then nobody talks to me anymore? The I'm not good enoughs, the I can'ts, the what ifs that we mentioned earlier. What if you start to ask yourself as these come up, and I highly encourage you to do this if you really truly want to recognize these for what they are, which are just thoughts. They're just thoughts. They're not real. They're literally not real. They're made up in your head. Truth or not truth, perceived truth or not perceived truth. They're not real. They're made up in your head. So begin to ask yourself, what could this thought be protecting me from? Basically, what is the opposite of what I want to do? What is it that I want to do? And what is this thought protecting me from? And why does that scare me? Why does that scare me? Why is there fear behind this thought? What do I not want to experience? And then that's where you can do the work. And if that experience is you don't want to experience something that has happened to you in the past, then that's where you need to do the work in desensitizing those triggers or those traumas. If what you don't want to experience is something that your mind is telling you is possible, for example, you anticipate giving a presentation at work, and you anticipate that you are going to fumble your way through it and that everyone's going to see right through you and that they are going to think that you are then a fraud and then they won't respect you and then they won't have lunch with you and then all of a sudden everyone's mean to you at work. Has that really happened? Has that actually really happened? No. That is your brain saying to you, I just don't want to fail. What is that fear? Get to the core of it. Figure out where it came from. Figure out where you first felt that fear and do that work. Go and rescue that inner child and do that work. Challenge the fear. Okay, is that real or is it a story? No, it's a story. Okay, well, what is the actual worst that could happen? The worst that could happen in that situation, and I don't know your boss or your workplace, so I'm just saying in my example, the worst that could happen in that situation might be that I feel embarrassed. I might feel embarrassed that I didn't do my best or that I tried my best and it's not what I perceived to have been the best job that I could have done. But then I might look at it and say, well, actually, I'm comparing my ability to give a presentation to somebody that I sat and watched last week who has presented every week of their career. So actually, I'm not in my own lane. I'm not where she is because she is 5 years ahead of me. So just looking at challenging those thoughts, reframing those thoughts, and then thank you. Thank you for telling me this. Thank you for bringing this to my awareness. but I choose to let it go. Thank you for trying to keep me safe. Thank you for trying to prevent me from being embarrassed. Thank you for trying to prevent me from feeling like my mum doesn't like my beautiful music again. But I choose to release this and let it go. And just see how you approach your thoughts differently when you observe them and then you recognize them as something that is just purely trying to keep you safe. Just trying to keep you safe. See the difference in how easily you can then start to reframe those thoughts. Do the work that you actually need to do. These are the things that you didn't realize were holding you back. These are the stories that have kept you stuck from doing the things that you really, really, really wanted to do with your life. These are them. This is how you recognize that. So thank it. Do the work you need to do. Challenge it. Lovingly release it. And just recognize that it is just safety because it is a perceived fear. If you would like to share your inner mean girl stories with me, I would love to hear them. Reach out to me on Instagram at inspiredlife.byjessicaann. There is a link in my show notes. And if you want to try to learn EFT tapping so that you can use that as a powerful tool to desensitize these fears, then I also have a free beginner's guide to EFT that you can download from my show notes as well. Until next episode, I hope you have an amazing week. And remember, thank you for trying to protect me, but you are just a story and I lovingly let you go. Don't forget to share this episode with somebody who needs to hear this, somebody who is stuck in their thoughts, somebody who is holding themselves back from the life that they want to live, from the potential that we all know they have, purely because of the dialogue that is going on inside their head. You've been listening to Inspired Wellness with Jessica. If you loved what you heard today, make sure you subscribe to this podcast and leave a review. If you know someone who would love to hear all about this topic, make sure you share this episode on your socials and tag me at inspiredlife.byjessicaann. You can get in touch with me through my website www.inspiredlifecollective.com.au. Thank you for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.